Howdy cross fans and welcome, sadly, to the final Laatste Ronde of this winter. I'm Marty Mack, thanks for joining me. What a final weekend of cyclocross action we had. St Niklaas on Saturday, one of my favourite races to commentate, and it didn't disappoint. I just think there's just something really special about it. I love all the races that are around the sides of the lake, so when we go down to the sea, it's just got so many elements to it. Thought we had a great women's race. Lucinda Brand taking the victory, her first win in her new sparkly rainbow jersey and her 20th victory of the season. And I just thought we had a great battle. Inge van der Heijden, Marion Norbert Rieberol, and you could see right from the start, the Rieberol, the Belgian champion, and you come off the start and you've got that really steep bank early on, and Rieberol, that red mist had descended right from the start, and she was constantly battling to get back through to the front. And it can always, on that course, comes down to just those tiny little details of getting up that bank quickly over the top and keeping the momentum through the next section and up that next sort of big burst of power. But it was a great race, and I think Lucinda Brand thoroughly deserving that victory. And it is always good for a new world champion, isn't it, to finish the season with a victory in your rainbow jersey before you kind of go into the road season and build for next season. And we kind of hear that Lucinda Brand will start her road season at Strade Bianche with the little Trek team, so I'm sure she's ready for a holiday. The elite men's race, what can we say about that? I think for me, it was one of my favourite races that I've commentated for ages. As I always say, I am such a massive fan of Niels van der Putte, and I always have been since he kind of came into racing, and he's always had that kind of silky smooth kind of skill. I know I've said it before, but coming into the final, and we had the teamwork that we're seeing throughout from Gerben Kuipers and Michael van Turnhout, and they're kind of, it's creeping in. And I say it in commentary quite a lot because they come to the front and everyone kind of looks at them and they're like, "Hey guys, we're gonna do that team thing again," and everyone's like, "Go on. Where you go, go for it," and they do. And I think they're becoming a really exciting pairing, and I think it's really good for Michael van Turnhout. And as we've said throughout the winter, it's so sad that we've lost Ailey Easterbit out of cyclocross, and that's been one of the big losses of winter. And we do send all our massive love out to Ailey, and hopefully he'll find a way to stay in the sport somehow. But I think this kind of new partnership that's emerging with Michael van Turnhout and Gerben Kuipers is something that's going to be really, really good to watch in years to come. But the final lap, and again, Niels van der Putte, we could just see he was closing and closing and closing. Michael van Turnhout had that advantage. And there's that little left-hander in the sand where we'd seen throughout the day that if you just got the line slightly wrong and got kicked out of the rut, it slowed you down. And coming into the final, Michael van Turnhout, little stall, little pause, kept going, but Niels van der Putte was just hunting him down. And you've got that great exit the sand, up that little ramp onto a really long finishing straight. And it was one of my favourite sprints to commentate, I think, in cyclocross ever. I mean, I go way back to Sven Nys and Zdeněk Štýbar, Niels Albert, and all those kind of finishes. But it was awesome, and we had that great kind of helicopter shot, and van der Putte was just closing and closing and closing, and you could see that Michael van Turnhout was starting to look around. There was a really strong crosswind, and I think I said it afterwards, and it kind of just comes out naturally. I was like, Niels van der Putte just went absolutely supersonic in that finish, and it was a really, really exciting finish, and one of my favourites, I think, of this winter. It's up there. St Niklaas is, as I said, one of my favourite courses. We then lined up to Brussels Uni on Sunday, and again, as a course, I remember commentating the first edition of this and chatting with Owen Vervecken when he kind of created the course, and when I was on GCN Racing, got to interview Owen Vervecken quite a lot, and we were in touch with him all the time. And the course that they've created at the Brussels University, it's pretty gnarly when you look at those banks, the really steep bank that we sort of drop down onto the road. There's that big off camber with those little sniper routes, as I like to call them, that get exposed as the day goes on. And that kind of really sort of, a few riders came unstuck on that section. Particularly, there's the sort of natural amphitheatre where, for the most part of the season, I imagine, the students sit and eat their lunch and chat about all things university life and what is going on in the world. But on this particular day, it comes down to up the banks and down the banks and back up them again. The elite women's race, Lucinda Brand, just I think it's quite understandable. Maybe just looking slightly tired. It was very, very cold on the day. But Salen Alvarado, wow, what a day she had. It was an incredible performance. Front wheel puncture, had that time to make up. She had that gap that she had to make up. And Brussels Uni was really where we saw Salen Alvarado starting to emerge as a talent when we go back to that sort of 2019 season where she took that first win. Coming back, overhauling Lucinda Brand and going clear for her fourth win in that Brussels University cyclocross. It was a real thriller. Lucinda Brand had gone into the day in the X2 Bicommerce Trophy with an unassailable lead and a second place. Rounded out what is an incredible season. GC in the World Cup, overall win in the X2 Bicommerce Trophy, 20 victories in the season so far. I don't think she'll do Oostmaler. And also that first win in that rainbow jersey and her second world title. So it has been an incredible season. Behind them, Manon Bakker took third on the podium for the day and also a really well-deserved second place overall. And if you look at Manon Bakker's season, she started the season as she does in the USA, and she races a lot, does Manon Bakker. So a really, really good end to the season for her. Inge van der Heijden took third overall in the X2 Bicommerce Trophy, and it's been a great season for Inge this season with that European title. And I think she's really grown as a rider this season, as many riders have. So it was a great end to the elite women's race. In the elite men at Brussels, the snow started to fall. Watch out, Winter Olympics. Don't say we're not a winter sport. We've had quite a bit of snow this winter, haven't we? And hopefully, yes, with the Winter Olympics going on in Milano Cortina 2030, let's hope that we're there. The elite men's race, it was not Joris Nieuwenhuis that went into the day with a decent advantage, but with that snow falling and with that brings all sorts of challenges, doesn't it? And he was kind of on the back foot a little bit, not losing that sort of catastrophic time in terms of losing the general classification overall. Michael van Turenhout and Gerben Kuipers yet again clear at the front. Gerben Kuipers, what can we say? Poor Gerben, he's got to be the unluckiest rider in cyclocross at the moment, hasn't he? Because you would sense if the two of them were clear, that for all the work that Gerben Kuipers has done for Michael van Turenhout recently, that he might get the win. Comes into the planks, bunny hots him, rear mech snapped clean off. Poor Gerben. I mean, he had to run to the pits pretty much and balance bike it to the pits. But he has got, I mean, let's send him some lucky charms between now and next winter, because I think he needs them. Joris Nieuwenhuis, though, managed to round out the winner overall. The gap between him and Niels van der Putte GC in the end, 1 minute and 45 seconds, with Cameron Mason, the British champ, finishing third overall. So I think that was a great end to the season for Cameron. Again, what a great X2 Bicommerce Trophy we've had. And that, sadly, brings to an end the televised cyclocross for this winter. There is still the race in Oostmaler, but looking back throughout the season, for me, I think it's one of the most exciting cyclocross seasons I've known for many, many years. I've loved every single race that I've commentated on. I've been doing this a very long time. I've been involved in cyclocross since I was a teenager. I've been commentating cyclocross for almost 25 years now, through cycling.tv, through where we started on GCN Racing, on Facebook Live, and then onto YouTube, and then when Discovery bought GCN and brought them into where we are now. But I'm proud of our sport. I love cyclocross, and I think we have a really, really bright future. I think our sport continues to produce just exceptional talents who are doing great things across all disciplines. You know, riders like Puk Pieterse, who are mixing the road, the mountain bike and cyclocross. The way Lucinda Brand is just getting better and better still every year, 36 years old, and on the road as well. Looking at Lucinda Brand, can she carry this form through? I'd love to see Lucinda Brand take a victory in something like Paris-Roubaix. And she's had an incredible road career already. Omloop Het Nieuwsblad, multiple stages of the Giro Donne. And our sport, just Mathieu van der Poel, the way he's ridden, completely 100% record in terms of the starts. He made that record-breaking 8th men's title, equaling what Marianne Vos has in elite women's cyclocross. And I'm looking forward to seeing the battles between Mathieu and Tadej Pogacar and Wout van Aert as well. Hopefully Wout van Aert's broken ankle that he had in Malt is just not going to scupper his classics season. In other riders, Zoe Backstead, so proud of Zoe again. As a lot of you know, I've known Zoe since she was 2 weeks old, and just watching her come back from that broken wrist into what was an absolute baptism of fire in that ferocious Dendermonde race, but then to just pick herself up and just put in some great performances and a 7th in her first ever Elite World Championships. But to go from there to the UAE Tour and then be up there at 3rd in a sprint behind Lorena Wiebes and Lara Gillespie. And I think Zoe's road season, being under 23 time trial champion of the world as well, I think it's going to be a great season for her. Sara Casasola, her win in Overijse was a phenomenal performance, and hopefully she can get some of the breathing problems that she's had this winter. She had a virus, also asthma, I believe, that she's had some issues. And so hopefully she can have a clear run next winter as well. But she's just got better and better. And we've seen that with her technique, particularly for me in her sand riding. Kristina Zemanova, Leonie Bentfeld getting her first world title in that under 23 worlds. And then in the elite men, Cameron Mason, for all us British fans, just seeing the way Cameron has just sort of evolved as a rider and the work that he did throughout the summer and last year to come into the winter in the way he has. And hopefully now he's part of that Alpecin Premier Tech development team. So on the road with the likes of Niels van der Putte and that team, hopefully he can then take more steps when he comes into next winter. But super proud of Cameron, where he's come from, where he's got to and where he's going. As another Scot, don't let the accent fool you. It's great to see what Cameron is doing in the sport. Thibaut Nace, he's had a great winter, and I think we're going to see, with another road season under his belt, I think we'll see him come into next winter as well. Hopefully another step up. And Thibaut Del Grosso as well. He's just a breath of fresh air as well. He is like a mini Mathieu van der Poel. I know we're not allowed to draw comparisons, but the king of the whips, as we now call him. I'm loving that competition that everyone's putting out on social media with the whips of Thibaut Del Grosso and Mathieu van der Poel. But it has been a phenomenal winter. As I said, I love cyclocross. It has always been like my favorite discipline to race, to commentate on. And as I've said, I'm super proud of our sport. And thank you for all the lovely messages that you've sent me throughout the season, tuning in. I'm glad you enjoyed my commentary. I love doing it. And also thanks for your reaction to my little YouTube show. I hope I'll be able to keep this going next winter. And I am going to keep it going during the road season. So I'm going to switch, as I do, to women's road cycling. So I'm going to keep Laatste Ronde going through the road season. I'll be doing some women's cycling reports. But thank you so much for watching. If you are struggling with post-cyclocross season blues, we're here for you. Don't worry, we've got you covered. We're a little community. We have to get through the hot sunny bit that is the summer before we get back into the rainy, snowy, muddy winter that we all love. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.